6. The Garden of Breath and Bloom. Beyond the hill of Silvergrass, the path curved downward into a valley wrapped in warmth and golden light. A perfume unlike anything they had ever known drifted on the air, sweet and sharp, like citrus braided with lightning, or honey stirred into starlight. They had found a garden. Or rather, the garden had found them. The trees grew tall and impossibly wide, their trunks coiled like dancers mid-step, and their bark shimmered with iridescent hues. Vines hung low, cradling fruits of every shape and color, some glowed faintly, others pulsed like quiet heartbeats. The ground was soft, carpeted in moss that exhaled a faint mist with every step. "This place is alive," Seraphine said, brushing her fingers along a vine. "But, it's not only alive. It remembers." Azrek nodded. "The earth is humming with age." They spread out slowly, exploring. Lamira reached up and plucked a translucent fruit that pulsed a soft blue. Its skin felt like memory, cool, fragile, and oddly familiar. She took a cautious bite. A rush of light filled her eyes. She gasped, stumbling back. "I saw my mother. When I was 5. She was singing." Zorvan raised an eyebrow and immediately snatched a round, golden fruit shaped like a tear. He took a dramatic bite, and instantly floated 3 feet into the air. "By the moons," he laughed, flailing slightly. "I'm flying. Without the horse." Azrek caught his leg and pulled him gently back to the ground. "Careful. Some of these might do more than amuse." Seraphine picked a deep red fruit that pulsed steadily, like a heartbeat. She did not eat it, but placed it against her forehead. Her eyes fluttered shut. A wind stirred around her, soft but insistent. When she opened her eyes, they glowed faintly. "This one shows possible futures." The group fell into a quiet wonder as they sampled different fruits. Some made the world sound like music, others made their skin shimmer or their hearts race with old joy. One fruit made Zorvan forget his own name for 5 minutes, which he insisted was a delightful vacation. Another made Azrek feel the heartbeat of the entire valley, as though the garden itself had welcomed him home. Then the air shifted. The leaves trembled, not from wind, but presence. From between the trees, a shape emerged. It moved slowly, each step deliberate and full of age. It was tall, perhaps twice their height, its body made of intertwining roots and glimmering crystal. Where its face should be, there was a smooth plate of glass-like stone, within which lights danced like fireflies. It paused a few steps away, then inclined its head, gently, like a bow. "You are not of this land," it said, though its mouth did not move. The voice came from the earth itself, from the trembling leaves and the fruit-laden branches. "We came through the cave of the Skyborn," Lamira said, stepping forward. "We were led by something." "You were invited," the being replied. "And yet, unanchored. The water of the winged ones protects you still. You pass unseen." Zorvan crossed his arms. "That sounds like a fancy way of saying we're ghosts." The being turned its head, light shimmering across its surface. "Not ghosts. Guests. For now." Seraphine stepped forward. "What is this place?" The guardian looked around, as if the garden itself was part of its body. "This is the Garden of Breath and Bloom. It remembers the world as it was, and as it might be again. Here, the land heals. Here, the land dreams." Azrek frowned. "And outside this place?" The guardian's light dimmed slightly. "The balance thins. Beyond the valley, the earth begins to forget. Something stirs. Something ancient that should have remained still." Lamira felt a chill run through her despite the warmth of the air. "What is it?" "Not yet awakened," the guardian said. "But it has noticed the shift. Your arrival, and the pot you carry, these have set threads in motion. The land watches now. It remembers too much. Then its voice softened. "You are not the only ones who came on winged steeds." The group exchanged glances. "She was young," the guardian said slowly. "Brave, and burning with love. She sought her lost beloved beyond the skies, and crossed into this world as you did. But her energy faded. She did not know how to keep it whole. And when it vanished, the people of the city saw her." "Where is she now?" Seraphine asked gently. "In the palace," the guardian replied. "Imprisoned, though she harmed no one. Their eyes do not see clearly what they fear. She waits still." Zorvan blew out a breath. "So we're balancing on a blade." "Lovely." "You are," the guardian agreed. "But blades can cut paths as well as flesh." It turned and walked slowly back into the trees, fading into moss and root and crystal. The companions stood in silence, the weight of new knowledge settling over them. Then Seraphine picked one last fruit, small, silver, and glowing faintly. She placed it into her satchel without a word. "She's not alone anymore," she said softly. Together, they left the garden, the music of humming petals and memory-sweet air trailing behind them like a half-remembered dream. 7. The city above the clouds. The mists parted as the horses descended, revealing a city that shimmered like a dream woven from silver and sky. Floating platforms drifted lazily in the air, tethered to one another by bridges made of translucent threads that pulsed with light. Towering spires curved like frozen music, their surfaces catching sunlight and releasing it in quiet chimes. Roads unfurled across the clouds, thin as lace and solid beneath hoof and foot, composed of woven light and living crystal. Here, gravity seemed uncertain, tamed by ancient spells. Zorvan let out a low whistle. "This is not a city. This is a symphony." The horses landed softly on a circular platform ringed with pale blue flame. No one came to greet them. No sound but the wind and the faint harmonic hum of the city's stones. "It feels hollow," said Lamira. "Like the city is breathing without lungs." Seraphine stepped forward, her gaze sweeping the vast expanse. "We are not alone. But we are unseen. The Guardian's warning holds true, the drink still cloaks us." They walked in silence through wide archways that opened like flower petals into vast halls. Statues of winged horses, their wings stretched wide in eternal ascent, lined the paths. Murals danced along curved walls, depicting people in radiant robes, soaring between sky gardens, feeding stars to the roots of trees, whispering to clouds. Azrek paused before one fresco showing a rider offering something, a glowing pot, to a towering spirit of the land. "See this?" he murmured. They knew the pot. It was sacred here. Lamira traced the lines of the mural with reverent fingers. It was a covenant. Magic, land, sky, all connected. The city, though abandoned, was not decayed. Gardens hung in the air, still blooming. Water flowed uphill into hovering basins. Yet no laughter, no footfalls, no voices echoed here. As they crossed a bridge of glass over a chasm of stars, Seraphine halted. There. The pulse. They all felt it then, a flicker of old magic, like a heartbeat too faint to be heard but sensed nonetheless. It led them inward, toward the heart of the city, a great palace suspended above all others, supported by pillars of wind and time. The way was open, as if expecting them. They passed through colonnades of polished stone where soft whispers drifted like ghosts in the air. Through the arching gateway they entered the inner sanctum, a vast hall with no roof, only the open sky above. And in its center, a tower of glass and gold, spiraling like a seashell caught mid-spin. Inside, faint and curled in sleep behind a veil of light, was the figure of a young woman. Her wings were folded tight against her back, their feathers dulled. Her hair floated around her head, like it had forgotten the rules of weight. She looked no older than they. A thin, luminous net of spellwork held her suspended. That must be her, whispered Lamira. Zorvan stepped closer, brow furrowed. She came here on a winged horse. Looking for someone. Seraphine placed her hand on the golden spiral, closing her eyes. She's dreaming, but not peacefully. The city holds her as if it's afraid of waking her. The people of this place imprisoned her, asked Azrak, angry now. They feared her, Seraphine murmured. When her protection faded, they saw her as something unnatural. But the city itself is conflicted. Part of it still remembers compassion. We have to free her, said Lamira. Not yet, Seraphine warned. We must understand the bindings. If we break them blindly, we could harm her, or stir whatever lies beneath. The group stood solemnly as the city whispered around them. Beneath their feet, the palace thrummed like a drum half buried in time. Above, strange clouds curled, watchful. Then from one far corner of the sky dome, a single note rang out, a distant bell that did not fade. Zorvan looked up. I think the city just noticed us.